Welcome back to Movie Insights. Today, I will show you an action, drama, sci-fi film from 2014, titled Automata. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. In the near future, Earth has lost 99% of the world's population to solar flares. As humanity gathers in safe cities, Rock Corporation creates the Automata Pilgrim 7000s, primitive humanoid robots that are able to rebuild and operate in this harsh environment. These robots come with two inalterable protocols. They cannot harm any form of life, and they may not alter themselves or other robots. Initially, they are considered our salvation, but as they are not able to stop desertification, they eventually are relegated to manual labor and servant jobs. During a rainy evening, Police Officer Wallace visits the ghetto, where he finds a robot repairing itself. Shocked by the discovery, he shoots it in the head. Meanwhile, Jacques Mockin, an insurance investigator for Rock, is checking in on his last case of the day, a robot being accused of killing a dog. After running the standard test and deciding the robot is working fine, Jacques goes back home to his pregnant wife, Rachel Vaughan. She thinks that after the baby is born, they should get a domestic pilgrim, but all Jacques can think about is the beach he used to visit as a kid. Later that evening, he's called to the police morgue to check on a robot. Jacques does not believe it when he hears the pilgrim has been found repairing itself, but the forensic technician opens it up and shows him it has been heavily modified. It is a very sophisticated job that could only be made by a clocksmith. The technician gives Jacques the robot's kernel and tells him that judging by what was found next to it, the unit was altered to smuggle tools and small parts. She also points out this unit is lacking the second protocol, which is impossible. The next day, he reports his findings to his boss, Robert Bold, who does not believe in the possibility of a robot without the second protocol either. Jacques says he is burned out and wants to be transferred to the coast. Robert turns down his request and orders him to take care of this mess. Following the serial numbers from the self-repairing robot and its altered parts, Jacques arrives at the wall that separates the city from the desert. He suspects one of the workers made the altercations using the robots that work there as well. A worker tells him those pieces belong to 206, a unit that is still operative. While Jacques checks its charging station, 206 shows up and watches him from afar, so Jacques decides to follow it. After going through a door with a broken lock, he makes it to the ghetto on the other side of the wall. This area is restricted and anyone walking there will be shot on sight. Jacques is no exception, and he is soon under fire from the wall guards, so he runs away and hides inside a shipping container. It is in this container that he finds 206 holding a box, but his question about it goes unanswered when 206 sets itself on fire. The burned robot is taken to Rock's labs, where it is opened and examined. The pilgrim is smuggling tools and parts too, but he has a rare nuclear battery, which could power a robot indefinitely. They manage to power up the unit once more, but as soon as Jacques starts asking it questions, its circuits burn out. Since a robot would never damage itself, Robert is angry because he thinks it's all Jacques' fault, but he accepts to give him the transfer if Jacques can prove a clocksmith is truly overriding the second protocol. When he returns home, he gives Rachel the news, but she rejects the idea and asks him to leave him alone. Jacques decides to visit the area where the first robot had been shot, and when looking around, he finds a hidden bag with another nuclear battery in it. The next day, he meets with Wallace and his partner Ellis to ask him about what he had seen that day. Wallace accepts to help Jacques find the clocksmith in the ghetto in exchange for splitting the proceeds of the battery on the black market. Together they visit a red lighthouse where they meet Cleo, a robot that has been modified to have intimacy with humans. She is capable of causing pain if it is part of the client's wishes for pleasure. Freaked out, Wallace shoots Cleo and exits the building, where Jacques scolds him for what he did. Wallace says it was on purpose because now Jacques can wait for Cleo to be taken to the clocksmith and follow them. Then he threatens him with a knife, reminding him he wants the promised money before leaving. Jacques sticks to Wallace's plan and follows Cleo's owner to the place that does her repairs. There he meets Dr. Suzanne Dupree, who claims not to be the one that altered Cleo. Jacques leaves the burnt robot kernel with her and tells her that if she can discover who modified it, he will give her his nuclear battery. When he gets home, he sends Robert a report of what he's learned so far, but the message is intercepted by Rock. The report reaches Chief of Security Vernon Conway, and he takes it to the CEO, Dominique Hawk. Hawk orders Conway to take care of it. Moments later, Jacques receives two messages, one from Rock telling him the case has been closed and he should return the kernel, the other from Dupree informing she has found something. Jacques goes to see her at her lab, where he finds Cleo repairing herself thanks to Dupree having combined the shot kernel with hers. But Hawk is suddenly interrupted by the arrival of two kids that shoot Dupree and go after Jacques as well. He runs and escapes through the back door. Outside, he jumps inside a car thinking it is his cabbie, but Cleo is actually the one at the wheel. She drives away as another car keeps hitting them and even begins shooting at them. Eventually, they make it to the desert, where both cars crash when they hit a maze of stanchions. The henchmen are killed and Jacques gets hurt. In the morning, Jacques regains consciousness and asks Cleo for help. She leaves after hearing him. She comes back a few hours later though, and has brought 3 other altered robots with her. Together they put Jacques on a car seat that they drag through the desert while they cross it. Jacques tries to order them to take him back to the city, to which they respond is impossible, and they are going to a safer place instead. Seeing these robots will not follow human orders, Jacques tries to leave on his own, but the robots follow him to protect him since they still have the first protocol. When Jacques passes out again, they put him back on the chair, feed him worms, and even build a condenser to gather water for him to drink. Jacques discovers the robots have salvaged many things from the cars, including the nuclear battery. Back in the city, Rachel's water is broken, so she is leaving for the hospital. At Rocks, Hawk and Conway are talking to Robert, telling him Jacques is to be blamed for the new wave of altered robots. Robert does not believe this. He still thinks Jacques is loyal to the company. In the desert, Jacques asks Cleo for the bag of salvaged items. He finds a flare gun, which he keeps to himself, and his pager, which he uses to send Robert a message before the battery dies. Robert sees the message and sends Wallace to retrieve Jacques. Wallace and Ellis drive to the desert, and Jacques sees their car from afar. Thinking they're here to rescue him, he shoots his flare gun to indicate his location before asking the robots to stop walking, even hitting one to get it to shut up. The police officers soon catch up with them, but Jacques is hit by Wallace as soon as he gets out of the car. When he grabs a nuclear battery and gives it to Ellis, the robots ask him to stop, so Wallace starts shooting them. He manages to destroy 2 and is about to shoot Cleo when Jacques kills him with the flare gun. Ellis gets scared and escapes in his car, refusing to take Jacques back to the city with him. Jacques can only watch and freak out as the 2 remaining robots salvage as many parts as possible from the 2 destroyed pilgrims before leaving. After realizing they will not be carrying him around on the chair anymore, Jacques salvaged what he can from Wallace's pockets and follow them. While camping, Jacques tells them that he has another battery and he will give it to them if they take him to the city. Cleo responds they will make it to their destination tomorrow and he may be able to find a vehicle there. Meanwhile, Robert is visited at home by Hawk and Conway, who take him back to Rocks to hear Ellis's report. Hawk explains that the first pilgrim was a quantum brain with no security protocols, but it became too smart and did not need humans anymore. The last task this unit was asked to do before it was deactivated was to program the 2 current protocols. That is why nobody can break them. They were not created by people and cannot be understood by the human mind. Robert is sent to the desert with Conway and 2 other officers to find and kill Jacques before more robots evolve further beyond human understanding. The next day, Jacques and the 2 robots arrive at the abandoned factory, where he finally meets the clocksmith responsible for the altercations, and gets incredibly shocked to find out it is another pilgrim that evolved on its own. He enters the factory and finds all the smuggled parts on a table, ready to be assembled in some kind of strange model. After Jacques leaves the room to find a vehicle, the robots start working on this model, but they are missing the final part, a nuclear battery. Jacques does find a car outside but is destroyed, so he is starting to lose hope. He approaches the edge of the cliff, seemingly considering jumping, but the clocksmith robot joins him. After some philosophical discussion, it confesses they want to go to the radioactive area where humans cannot reach them. But to be able to do that they need one final thing. Jacques understands and hands it his nuclear battery. When night falls, Robert's team find Wallace's body and they decide to wait there when Conway gets a message saying 2 ladies will be joining them. Another car arrives a few hours later, bringing Rachel and her newborn daughter. Robert is upset by this and he refuses to use Rachel as bait. When Conway stops him from going back, Robert shoots him on the shoulder and gets shot in return. After drinking and dancing with Cleo, Jacques watches the pilgrims finish their creation. By using the nuclear battery, they give life to this sort of animal-like robot. He falls asleep afterwards, only to be woken up the next morning by the sound of an engine. The robots have prepared the car for him, so Jacques uses it to leave after thanking them and wishes them goodbye. However, he needs to stop the car midway to throw up, and that's when he notices scavenger birds flying around, which allows him to find Robert. Before dying in his arms, he accuses Jacques of betrayal and tells him they have Rachel. Conway and his team make it to the abandoned factory and open fire on the robots, which makes one of the pilgrims jump off the cliff. When the clocksmith pilgrim refuses to follow orders, Conway shoots it before retrieving its kernel, and he is about to destroy Cleo as well when Jacques suddenly arrives in the car. They open fire on him, but he keeps driving ahead as Rachel steals a knife from her captor and stabs him with it, allowing her to escape. Jacques manages to hit 2 of the men with the car and shoots a third with the shotgun he grabbed from one of the bodies, then runs inside the factory while Conway is distracted by the animal-like robot. Conway enters the factory too and finds Jacques on the highest area. After accusing Jacques of betraying his own people, he points a shotgun at him to kill him, but the animal-like robot arrives and pushes him off the cliff. Jacques picks up his own shotgun, thinking he might have to defend himself from it, but they are interrupted by Rachel and the baby. The couple reunites while Cleo watches them. When she dares to touch the baby, her gentle fingers causes her to stop crying. Jacques helps Cleo and the animal-like robot reach the other side of the cliff, and after saying his goodbyes to her, He and his family leave in the car. They eventually make it to the coast, where Jacques regains his hope for a brighter future.